Welcome to Experience Travel with Katie and Allie. My name is Katie Lilly, and I am the owner of the Travel Marketplace.
And I'm Allie Schultz, expert travel consultant with the Travel Marketplace. Today we're going to experience travel with Columba from Ama Waterways.
Hi everyone, nice to see you all. My name's Columba. I work for Ama Waterways for the past 7 years almost, and I represent a small river cruise company and cover the territory of New York and New Jersey.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us today, Columba. Can you tell everybody just a little bit about Ama and maybe some of the inclusions that Ama Waterways includes in their river cruises?
Sure, I'd love to. So Ama Waterways is a small river cruise company, like I said. And if those of you that have not considered a river cruise in the past, you might think like, what is this all about? What is included? Because pretty much it's an all-inclusive package. When you book a cruise with Ama, you're going to get your accommodations like you do on a big ship. All your meals obviously are included. But the most important thing is the shore excursions. Every shore excursion that's listed in our brochure is included in the price. So you have a choice of 3 to 4 3 or 4 excursions every single day. And all those are included. Now, will you have time to do them all? Absolutely not. But it's about having the choice of choosing what you like to do. We also include beer, wine, and soda with lunch and dinner. We have a complimentary cocktail party every night before dinner for 1 hour. The only thing you're going to pay extra for will be gratuities. We don't include those because we feel that that really should be at the discretion of the guest. We'll give you guidelines, but that's not included. We also don't include alcohol all day. So it's just the included alcohol that I mentioned earlier with lunch and dinner and the cocktail party. And of course, if you go to the spa and get your hair done or get a massage, that's not included. So unlike the big ships where they lure you with a great price to get on the ship and then you walk off with a big bill at the end, with river cruising, you're paying for everything up front. So when you walk off the ship, your bill will be very nominal.
Nice. Also, is internet included?
Oh yes, I forgot to mention that. Wi-Fi is included, your bottled water is included, coffee, espresso, cappuccino. There's a great self-serve coffee machine in the lounge, so you could just help yourself 24 hours a day. You press a button, espresso, cappuccino, macchiato, you're a barista in no time. Real nice and easy.
Wonderful. And then also too, I noticed that you guys also have bikes that you can take off the ship and
yes.
use.
One thing that's very unique about Ama, we were the first river cruise companies that offered bike tours, and these bikes are on our ship. Unlike other companies that have to get bikes from an outside vendor to bring them to the ship, we do guided bike tours in pretty much every town because we feel that, people want to see these small towns and villages, and you may get tired of just seeing churches and town square and city hall. So they want to do things that are off the beaten path. So we offer bike tours, and in 2015, we started offering hiking tours as well. So if you really want to keep fit and active, we've got those options for you. It's not just about sitting on the top deck watching the scenery go by. We're getting not only younger, but just more active clients that want to do things that are a little bit off the beaten path.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that sounds great. I love the active and the bikes and seeing the towns in a different way. That's people like to explore.
For our guests. Yes, it definitely is. People love it. Just to change it up during the week.
Yep, that's perfect. So I think this is a great time to show that video to our viewers and kind of give them, just sort of a brief overview of how amazing Ama is. Well, that looks incredible, and I am definitely ready for a river cruise at this point. So, Columba, can you also offer? I know Ama sails to many different locations. What are some of the rivers that you guys go to? Some of the big rivers that you guys go to?
Well, basically our most popular river is the Danube. So we have several itineraries that touch upon the Danube. So that could be anything that's like starts in Prague, ends in Budapest, or vice versa. The Rhine is also very popular, which is like Amsterdam to Basel. We have several French itineraries, which are really gorgeous. That really cover just France. So most of our itineraries will cover 4, 5, sometimes 6 countries, but the France ones are very concentrated. They cover just France. And also we have the Douro River in Portugal. So that'll cover Portugal, a little bit of Spain. We have a ship in Vietnam and Cambodia, which covers the Mekong River, which is also amazing. That ship carries 122 guests. We have a tiny little ship in Africa that goes on the Chobe River, which is spectacular. Only 14 staterooms, so 28 guests enjoy that experience. And coming next year, 2021, we'll actually feature a ship on the Nile River as well. So a brand new ship, 32 staterooms, 64 guests, mostly suite accommodations. So we're really excited about that destination. So we go, when we're talking about Central Europe, we go to the countries that the big ships can't get to. They're all the landlocked countries that the only other way you'd get to experience them would be to drive yourself or on a motor coach tour. So people that love cruising will really love the experience of being on the river. If you're, have any fear of cruising because you say, oh, I'm worried about getting seasick, that will not happen on a river cruise. It's as smooth as can be. You will see land at all times. It's really an amazing, beautiful experience. And I can say that after being with the big ships for so many years, some people get a little freaked out about seeing nothing but water around them. That's not the case with a river cruise. You're going to be landlocked pretty much and just sailing along like you're on a track in the amusement park. It's smooth as can be. The only time you might feel a little bump maybe is when you're going through the locks, which is also an amazing thing to experience on rivers.
That does sound pretty incredible. So one thing that you mentioned really briefly, so the ocean cruises and things, and another thing that kind of makes you guys stand out. So your maximum capacity as far as passengers goes is much smaller. So what's your maximum capacity?
Yeah, that's funny too, because our ships in Europe, they'll carry Portugal's like 106. Okay. The France ship's like 144. Most of Europe is 156-ish. And we have one large ship, 196 guests. That's the Ama Magna, which made her debut last year. She's unique in that she offers a bit more. The reason we built that ship, Allie and Katie, was Rudy had a vision that says, these big ship people that keep saying they want to try a river cruise, but there's not enough variety, because basically our ships have one dining room and a specialty restaurant. Well, the Ama Magna is unique that she's twice the width of a standard river cruise ship. She has 4 restaurants, much larger gym, much larger theater. I mean, that we could do another episode on that ship specifically because she's so unique to the rivers. But I joke when I do my presentations, I say, we're cooking for 164 guests on our majority of our ships. That's like a lifeboat on the big ships. When you think about the number of guests, it's so small and so intimate. The other beautiful thing about it is that the staff on board just makes the guests feel so special because they get to know your name. They get to, they'll welcome you by name when you walk into a lounge. They know your preferences before you even ask for them. So they really just do an outstanding job. It's unlike being on a 4,000 or 5,000 passenger ship, not just in size, but just in the whole feel.
Yeah.
Great. And then lastly, before we go today, can you tell us a little bit about some of the policies maybe you put in place and your deposits and those sorts of things if someone was interested to go on, book a river cruise?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this has been a difficult few months for us. The company was founded in 2002, and that was right after September 11th struck. So Rudy and Christine, the owners of the company, when they started this company, they were already faced with issues, so in all their years of being in business since then, they have planned for such issues, and said, this could happen. There are times on the rivers where we have low waters, high waters, And we take such good care of our guests in not only on board the ship when they're there, but as far as taking care of them when they get back. We give them a future cruise credit. We want them to come back. We want to make their experience the best possible. So right now we have suspended operations through June 30th of this year. And all of the guests that were booked, say starting in March, because we don't sail in the winter months. We start March with our tulip time cruises. So our March, April, May, and June guests have all been automatically issued a 115% future cruise credit to apply to a future sailing. So we want them to come back, and we know that so many of them want to come back. They're disappointed too, because it's a trip of a lifetime that they might have been planning for a long time. So we're protecting them with 115%. And then for going forward, we're, in addition to regular insurance, which agents have found this year because of the situation, COVID ID wasn't covered by your basic insurance policies. So Ama Waterways has put in place not an insurance policy, but a travel assurance policy it's a program called the Travel Waiver Plus. So for an additional cost, it will protect their investment in their future trip. So we will give them not only a monetary refund, but a partial credit, because normally you would lose a good chunk of your money if you don't purchase this plan. So this will allow us, depending on when you cancel from the time of the trip, of course it goes in waves. So like 90 days is when your final payment would be due. If you make your final payment at 90 days, if you canceled at that point, you'd be at a certain percentage of cancellation, let's say. So instead of losing your money or giving you just a future cruise credit, we're giving you partial cash back. It's a little tricky. We can go into more detail, when you get specific issues, but it's really been very, very well received by our travel agents and by the guests, because they really want to hold out till the last minute if they have to cancel. And we're allowing guests to buy this plan up to 48 hours prior to departure, because we all know that this has been a very fluid time. Things are changing every day. One day you hear we're flattening the curve, then you hear that we're not. And then it's also affecting different countries at different times. So it's been very, very tricky. But I will say that Ama Waterways has handled it wonderfully, that the company is a very sound company, that, Rudy and Christine have made very sound investments, and all of our ships are paid for in full. So we don't have any debt. And one thing that Rudy brings up in every interview, he says, I can sleep at night. We haven't laid off one employee. Even the cruise managers are all standing by. The rivers continue to flow, and we just can't wait to welcome our guests back.
That's wonderful to hear. Well, thank you for joining us today, Columba. We appreciate it. And thank you everybody out there for joining the travel marketplace in Ama Waterways. If you have any additional questions on Ama Waterways, feel free to reach out to the travel marketplace. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep dreaming about your next travel experience.